A woman who introduced herself as a princess of the Sultanate of Sulu says her family is willing to negotiate with the Malaysian government to increase the lease on Sabah. Miguel Ortilla reports.
As if to ease the ongoing tension over the Sultanate of Sulu's claim on Lahad Datu in Sabah, Malaysia, the Kirams of Sulu have deputized a new emissary to convey their demands, in the person of a woman who introduced herself as a princess of the Sultanate. Princess Jasel Kiram spoke in behalf of the Sultan's followers, saying that the only way to resolve the standoff is for the Malaysian government to sit down with them on the negotiation table.
If Malaysia wants to maintain the lease, then they can, but they have to talk to us in order to do so.
The Lady Kiram clarifies that their family is not giving up on their claim of Sabah, but they are willing to set aside their claim for now, granted that Malaysia pays more for the lease of their land. In 1878, the Sultanate of Sulu signed a decree allowing the British North Borneo Company to occupy Sabah for a permanent lease of 5,300 ringgit a year, or about 70,000 pesos. North Borneo was eventually turned over by the British to the Malaysian government, which assumed the payment of the lease. And after 135 years, the Kirams find this amount very outdated.
The lease is not fair.
How much?
It has been in the olden times.
International law expert attorney Harry Roque says there is no dispute that ancient agreements are still binding, but the problem is the term used in the agreement was pajak, which is interpreted by the Sultanate as lease or rent, but is taken by the Malaysian government to mean an actual sale.
Had this been a domestic situation, then what should be brought to court is really an action to provide for a specific term for a lease. No?
Another gray area is that if indeed talks are initiated, will Raja Muda Agbimuddin, the Sultan's brother, leading the 200-strong man contingent in Lahad Datu, stand down and go back to the Philippines?
Basta hindi kami babalik sa Pilipinas. Until finally, the issue will be resolved. Kailangan ibabalik nila sa Sultanate ang Sabah.
Agbimuddin also denies allegations that the group has links with the Moro National Liberation Front.
There is no MNLF. Formerly, they were some of them, but long time already, they get out from the group. Ms. Suarez has nothing to do with this move.
For attorney Roque, the chances of the Malaysian government sitting down with the Kirams are close to nil, unless it is initiated by the Philippine government itself.
Unfortunately, under international law, the Sultanate would not have a personality. No? It is the Philippine government that should be espousing the claims of the Sultanate. No?
On several occasions, emissaries from the palace have been sent to the Kirams' residence to convey the stance of the government. The Sultan's royal army must go home or face deportation. Reports reaching the Kiram family is that the Department of Foreign Affairs is awaiting feedback from the Malaysian government on its request for an extension for the deportation. Miguel Ortilla, Solar News.
The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process says the standoff in Sabah involving Sulu Sultanate followers will not affect peace talks between the Philippine government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. OPAP adds the Foreign Affairs Department is coordinating with Malaysian security forces to resolve the matter. Government Peace Panel Chair Miriam Coronel Ferrer says the unsettled claims over Sabah is a foreign policy matter that is outside the scope of the peace talks. Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Laila de Lima says the standoff in Sabah will not affect the extradition of Aman Futures owner Manuel Amalillo. De Lima says there is no indication from Malaysian officials that Amalillo's extradition will not push through. De Lima adds that the Malaysian government is aware that Amalillo's cases in the Philippines are much bigger than his fraudulent passport case. The Justice Secretary, however, says the four-man team's trip to Malaysia this week to process Amalillo's extradition will not push, as Malaysia's Attorney General is currently not in Kuala Lumpur. The Department of Foreign Affairs says China's rejection to take the territorial row over the West Philippine Sea to an international arbitral tribunal will not affect the arbitration process. Carol Remoran has that story.
The Chinese government formally rejected the Philippines' appeal for arbitration lodged at the United Nations on a territorial row over the West Philippine Sea. In a press briefing in Beijing, Hong Lei said Chinese ambassador to Manila Ma Keqing went to the Department of Foreign Affairs to return the note verbal earlier issued by the Philippines. The Department of Foreign Affairs snubbed China's decision, saying Beijing's rejection will not interfere with the arbitration process. In a statement, the DFA cited Annex 7 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea that notes under Article 9, if one of the parties to the dispute does not appear before the arbitral tribunal or fails to defend its case, the other party may request the tribunal to continue the proceedings and to make its award. Absence of a party or failure of a party to defend its case shall not constitute a bar to the proceedings. China is banking on its historical claim over the whole of the South China Sea through the 9-dash line. Aside from the Philippines and China, there are 4 more states with overlapping claims over the South China Sea. On January 22, the Philippines announced it is formally inviting China to the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea after tensions flared in the area due to territorial disputes. Carol Ramoran, Solar News.
Manila Vice Mayor Isko Moreno and 5 city councilors filed charges against police officials who arrested them for alleged illegal gambling. Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Laila de Lima orders the transfer of any case regarding the incident from the Manila Prosecutor's Office to the Department of Justice to ensure a fair investigation. George Cahiles has more.
31 Manila policemen are in hot water after Vice Mayor Isko Moreno and 5 city councilors filed administrative and criminal charges against them. The policemen were charged for arresting the Manila officials on Saturday in Santa Cruz, Manila for illegal gambling. Moreno and the 5 councilors filed grave misconduct and abuse of authority against the Manila Police before the National Police Commission. They also filed grave coercion, unlawful arrest, perjury, incriminating innocent persons, and arbitrary detention cases before the Ombudsman against Blumentritt Police Community Precinct Chief, Inspector Eduardo Morata and 30 John Does.
Kami ay magpapail ng kaso, ngunit sa mga taong may kasalanan lamang. Maaaring nandoon sila, pero kami magiging patas. Hindi po namin gagawin ang isang bagay na katulad na ginawa nila sa amin, na inakusahan na lamang kami at bahala na si Batman.
Moreno says the gathering in a private compound in Tambunting, Santa Cruz, Manila on Saturday started out as a consultation with the constituents that turned into a bingo event.
Tinanong ko ang taong bayan kung ang ginagawa ba nila ay tumaya sila o bumili sila ng card, at sinabi po ng taong bayan ay wala. So wala pong wager.
For his part, Manila Mayor Alfredo Lim says he will provide a lawyer to Morata and other policemen named in the complaint. Lim intends he did not order Moreno's arrest and challenged the Vice Mayor to resign if he will not be able to prove Lim did order his and the city councilors' arrest.
Malaking kasinungalingan yung sinasabing ako nag-utos. Una, in-interview nila si Colonel Layo. In-interview din si Lieutenant Tumada. Sinasabi nila, wala ko inuutos na kasi hindi ko nga alam na may pabingo doon eh. Alam mo na, panahon ng politika ngayon, dirty tactics.
Lim supports the police on the legality of the arrest. He says the bingo games led by Moreno and the councilors are illegal.
Bakit sabi ni Colonel Layog na ang natanggap nilang report, may binebenta daw ng mga card na 10 pesos. Yung mga tao doon, hindi naman sila vice mayor o yung mga konsyal, may mga tao sila siguro doon eh.
Lim is up against Moreno's running mate, former President Joseph Estrada, for Manila Mayor. On Sunday, the Manila City Prosecutor's Office issued an order to release Moreno and the councilors. The Prosecutor's Office also ordered further investigation in the case. Justice Secretary Laila de Lima nipped in the bud any doubts over the impartiality of the investigation. She ordered the transfer of the cases regarding the incident from the Manila Prosecutor's Office to the Department of Justice. George Cahiles, Solar News.